She doesn't trust me because she would screw me if she could. That's what I believe. Okay, and I'll be honest, I've thought about screwing her. Okay, so I'm being honest.
Thank goodness for honesty. Now, it occurs to me that based on the title, I told you guys that Kody admitted that he is screwing these ladies over for that land. This is a land grab because we're talking about Coyote Pass and his intentions on Coyote Pass. And as he admitted in that clip, he gave an admission that he's screwing them over. Now, how do you know that, James? What do you mean by that? What I'm saying is his accusation is a confession. He said that if given a chance, Janelle would screw me over. And I know this to be true because I have had the intention of screwing her over. Then he goes on to give some example of why he didn't do it because of Robin's influence and how she changed his mind and made him see the light. But that doesn't remove the underlying thought process that he's going to try to get advantage on Coyote Pass. Now, people keep asking, why do you keep talking about why is this so important? This is important because this is where it is. One, as far as this family is concerned, this is the big thing that's occurring with the family. And to be honest with you, this is the last ditch effort for Janelle and Meri to get anything financially from their separation of the Brown family. That's why it's so important as far as the storyline is concerned. But if we're going to keep it all the way a stack, there are things that we can talk about and things that we can take away from this example that we can apply to our personal lives that I think makes a difference, particularly when we engage with family members and friends and we start talking about business or investment, whether it's a car or whether it's real property like a home or land or whatever the case may be, we always have to keep in mind that we have to put on our business caps and not just our friend caps or our lover caps or put on the cloak of charity. Because those things won't help you if everything falls apart. And that's what we're watching here with the Coyote Pass story arc. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, we're watching Kody systematically try to take advantage of these women because he was in a position where they trusted him. Now, I want to make it very clear, because there's a huge dispute that happens within my comment sections down below. Please leave a comment so you can give me your thought and your take on what these issues are. But as I read through them, there's always a contingent that says that Janelle is this brilliant businesswoman and she's super smart when it comes to money. And then there's another part that says Janelle isn't that smart when it comes to money. Here's what I would say. I think that the ladies are products of their environment. There's different levels of smart when it comes to finances. For instance, you have people who are struggle smart. These are folks who, if you are in a low income job or you're not making a whole lot of money and you have a lot of responsibility, like, I don't know, like 13 kids that you're responsible for, and you have to try to make those dollars stretch, whether it's couponing, whether it's, buying food when it's like a little late as far as the dates are concerned, it's about to expire. I'm talking about, grabbing that meat before it goes bad. The dude will be like, the butcher will tell you that, when you get this home, put this in the pan immediately. Cook this right away. Cook it, and then you could save it a couple days. But if you don't do that, I hope your insurance is good. You know what I mean? One of those things. Like, how the meat guy is always out there, switching the meat out and he got that cart. The Brown family come along and take the cart. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're smart that way. That's good finances. That's when you're good financially. But there's another part of it. When you have money and you have to deal with things like real estate, property, home ownership, you go from making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 top end for Janelle. And then all of a sudden they're making $100,000, $200,000 a piece with the show. And being able to get your mind around that, that's a different environment. That doesn't mean you're stupid with money. It just means you're inexperienced. And what I see with a lot of the transactions and how they structured a lot of their deals, it just screams inexperience to me. Because when we talk about Kody is presenting everything like a used car salesman. Okay? When we watch him talk to Meri, when Meri comes over to the house and they bring their check, we're going to get into like the whole check transaction and the whole paying off the bills, because there is a point of negotiation that they all missed. But when she came over to drop the check off, Kody was sitting there trying to make her okay with her investment. And this is what he had to say.
I've spoken with Janelle, and because there's woods on our section, on the 3 lots that we've got, I said, do you want to do a appraisal, or are you happy with your 4 acres and Meri and I splitting the other 6 acres? She says, I'm fine with that. I think that's fair. You guys got the woods, so it'd be 3 acres each, basically.
Now, in that little scenario, Kody was trying to make Meri comfortable with the idea that he essentially was going to give Robin 4 acres, he was going to give Janelle 4 acres, and he was still going to shortchange Meri. So he was just basically saying, oh yeah, I talked to Janelle and Janelle says it's a good idea, because at this time, he didn't realize that Meri and Janelle had actually had a conversation, and Janelle had already pre-warned Meri. So he's thinking, I'm going to do what I've always done, which is to triangulate these women against one another. So I'm going to invoke Janelle as going along with this deal, and then that's going to help Meri get along with it. This is a sales tactic that's always used. Like, for instance, the iPhone, right? The iPhone isn't any better or worse than any of the Androids that come out, Samsung or whoever. But when you think about the iPhone, typically the iPhone has a thing with it where people you know may think that it's cool too. And if these cool people think that it's cool and they think the phone is great, then the phone must be cool and the phone must be great. It's sales through association. So you always try to get the person that you're trying to get to purchase something to have a relationship with the people they think who are going along with it, who have purchased this thing before, and that makes them more likely to purchase the thing that you're trying to sell. And that's what Kody's trying to do. Oh, Janelle said it's a great idea, so therefore it must be a great idea. And that's how he presented it to Meri. Now, Meri, of course, because of the way he played it, to be honest with you, Kody, you messed up. Because if she would have came in the door and you would have treated her the same way you did when you were over at her house and you helped her move the day after your anniversary, and you were hugging her and bugging her and crying and sobbing and we with you, Meri. I should have never left you. And had you done that, then she might have gave you an easy road. But because she comes over, you give her kind of the cold shoulder. You're not as much fun. You're not giggling. You're not giddy. You're not hugging. You're not kissing. You're not kissing her tail. And then when she tells you that she went away to her dream vacation, you act like you didn't give a shit and you didn't know. So therefore, she came in and she was a little harder on you, Kody. She was a little harder on the beef today, and you couldn't handle it. The funny part is when she turned around, and this is my favorite part of the episode, when she said to him, based on what you said, oh, I had offered to Janelle that we could get an appraisal, but she had said since we had the trees, she didn't need it. Then Meri had responded this way, and it messed Kody's whole world up.
I still think it would be a really wise idea. I want to know for me, because I think it would be fair for all 4 of us to know really like what the lots are worth.
Oh, shit. And as you can see from Kody's expression, he had that deep, heart, dark place, where he was cussing like, oh, damn, they done figured it out. They starting to wise up. The smartest thing you can do in this particular situation is get information. Anytime you do business with anybody, before you put more money behind something, wouldn't it make sense for you to go out and get an appraisal first and foremost? I don't just want an appraisal because we need to figure out how to divide the land. Before we put any more money on top of the money we already spent, let's figure out if us investing more money is actually worth it. For instance, when we purchased the land, if say you spent $890,000 to purchase the land, you only had $300,000 to put down on the land, which means you still owe $590,000. Divided 4 ways. But even if no matter how you divide it or how you cut it, you still have to put down a large sum of money. Now, before you put that money down and so you can save yourself from losing the land, wouldn't it be nice to know whether the land was actually worth $1 million? So if I want to pay $890,000, I at least want to know that my money isn't being wasted, and the land that we're purchasing is it worth at least $900,000. If not, why would I put an additional $590 on it? I'd rather just lose it, take the hit and lose the $300 than put an additional $590 on top of land that I'm just going to hold and sit on. That doesn't make sense. So either way, whether you're dividing the land or not, or separating the land or reconfiguring it or just selling it outright, it would make sense to me that you would get an appraisal, because more information, especially in business, only makes sense. This is something that Meri had later said in her confessional video, where she said this.
I think it's fair and valid that we get an appraisal on the full property, rather than just somebody guessing that, oh, well, there's trees, so it must mean that it's more valuable. Maybe it does. But wouldn't we want to know exactly how much more valuable?
Exactly. Wouldn't you want to know exactly how much more valuable the land is? If before we start cutting and slicing and dicing and reconfiguring, let's figure out if it's actually worth more or if it's worth less. Because if you notice that a good portion of the part of the Coyote Pass that has the trees on it, there's also substantial rock. There's rock facing. So in order for you to be able to dig or put a house on that property, especially where those trees are, you have to figure out how you're going to get around those rocks. That's an additional challenge that would affect anybody as far as an architecture, as far as zoning, so on and so forth. This is even giving or granting the fact that you would be able to build on Coyote Pass and you'd be able to build permanent residence there, which is in question based on which YouTuber you listen to. But if you were to do this, the first thing you want to do is, before we start dividing up land, let's figure out what's worth what. And that makes sense to me. Now, the big issue that I have, and I brought this up during my live with Sarah from Reality Squad. The thing that I've noticed about Kody and Coyote Pass has been that for years now, Kody has been on Coyote Pass cutting those trees down left and right. Remember years ago when Gabriel and Big G's were meeting with Kody on Coyote Pass to discuss the COVID rules, and Gabe had passed by that big, huge stack of logs that were already cut down and piled up on Coyote Pass? Now, I did a little bit of research, and this is just me tapping on a computer, but from what I see there, it looks like Kody has ponderosa pine on Coyote Pass, and that particular pine is bought by tree companies and mills to be able to sell to woodworkers and construction folks for building and so on and so forth. So he actually could have a little business. So while we're talking about, oh yeah, you guys have a bunch of trees on your property and those trees make your property valuable, Kody has been cutting those trees down the entire time you guys have owned that property. So it begs the question, how much of those trees do you have left as you get the smaller property? This is part of the reason why you want to go back and get somebody to come in and appraise the land. This is one of the many reasons why you want somebody to come in and appraise the land. The next thing is that there was a movie not too long ago called Devil in a Blue Dress starring Denzel Washington. It's got Don Cheadle. This movie is action-packed. It's a good movie. But there's a scene in it where there's a guy who just loves cutting down trees. And this is what I think about when I see Kody out there, peeling trees. I call it shucking trees. When he's out there peeling trees and he's out there doing work on Coyote Pass and at his home, cutting trees down, because my man is in the tree business. Let's not get it confused. But let's take a look at this clip.
I've been watching your house and seeing all them people that's been giving you trouble.
Just leave my trees alone, all right?
There, man, I'm gonna go back and knock down a couple of them for you. I'm knocking a couple down, and you tell me what you think when you get back, all right?
Now I can see Meri sitting there saying, leave my damn trees alone. Now I'm gonna go back there and knock some of them down. You tell me what you think about it when you get back. Okay, I'm determined to do it. This could actually be Kody taking money out of Meri's pocket, because if you have somebody who is going to purchase that land, it might not just be a developer who is willing to purchase that land. It could be a tree company or somebody who works with the sawmills who is willing to purchase that land so that they have access to those pine trees, which are valuable. So that's something that they have to keep in mind. Again, these are things that you have to consider as you deal with people who are your friends and family and you decide to go into business with them. That's why I say that Meri and Janelle and Christine and even Kody and Robin, they might be savvy as far as being able to make a dollar stretch, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily qualified to deal with these business questions. I can't imagine a situation where, not a slight on Janelle or anybody else. Like I said, it's just a matter of what you're used to. I don't see Mark Cuban or somebody of that stature getting caught up the same way Janelle and Meri are caught up now with Kody as far as this business venture is concerned. I don't care who they're dealing with, because they would know to ask these types of questions. Now, the best part is that once Kody gets caught with the whole appraisal question, and Meri, like I said, she sidelined him, and my man was like, oh, dang it, dang, dang. So Kody, of course, has to do some backpedaling, because he really doesn't want to have the question of the appraisals there, because he doesn't want them to really understand what they have and how valuable what they have is. He just wants to give it to them. Now, of course, the big question is, why in the world would I listen to you? Your business is not appraisal of land. So you have no idea what's worth what. If I'm just listening to you talk about it, I don't know that you know what you're talking about. So why would Meri listen to Kody as far as what piece of land is valuable? And when he's talking about dividing up the land, and this part of the land is going to be more popular and more valuable than this other land because it's got trees. How the hell do you know? Let's get some professionals in here, some people whose business it is. This is the difference between, again, this is a business thing. People who do business understand that they don't know all things, nor is it required for them to know all things. What they do know is that they don't know, and their job is to find somebody who does know. That's the earmark of a true good businessman. And Kody is not a good businessman. But when we listen to Kody and he tries to backpedal on his explanation or his sales pitch, this is what he had to say.
We can do that, or I can't remember if it was a developer or a contractor might want to buy the entire thing. And if they bought the entire thing, then we would just split it 4 ways.
Great news! We could get a contractor to buy the whole thing and then we could split it 4 ways. But either way, guess what we need to do? Get an appraisal, because we need to know how much we're going to sell it for. So you're not sidestepping it by saying, oh yeah, I mean, we could do that, or we could just sell it. Sell it for what? Sell it for the value? I don't think so. Or are we just going to make a number up? Or is this the point where we just trust you and you go off and do these business meetings by yourself? Which reminds me about something they said. And we're going to get into like some of the moves that they could have made as far as negotiation. But when it comes to how the leadership or how the ownership of the land is laid out, let's talk about that. Why is Kody's name on everything and Meri's name is only on one little small piece of land with 3 other people? Robin's and Kody's name are together on another piece of land. Janelle and Kody's name is on another piece of land. And then you had Kody, Robin, and Christine on another piece of land, but then Christine dropped out and gave her piece of land to Kody and Robin. Why is it that way? And Robin and Meri both gave an explanation. Let's listen to what they have to say.
I don't understand why the property got divided the way that it did. I was not involved in that process. I was just told about it after the fact.
The names on the properties were just temporary until we paid it off. And like nobody made that decision except for Kody. And we were just told about it later. And I was like, why did you do it that way? And he was just like, I just had to make a decision really quickly. I was just trying to, I don't even know.
Seeing that whole thing? Oh, well, I don't know how the property was divided that way. That was the cloak of charity. Okay? or the blindfold of stupidity, whatever you want to call it. That was the cloak where they trusted Kody because he was supposed to be the head of the family. So essentially, you gave him either a check or you gave him access to the family bank account where he took the deposit in, and he made a deal with this guy, and the two of them decided who was going to be listed on what acre or what lot or what plot or whatever the case may be. And he made those decisions. Here's my thing. If you're going to partner with somebody, be their partner. There's no way in the world he should have gone to that meeting by himself. What were you ladies doing that you couldn't be involved with the Coyote Pass meeting and purchase? What were you guys up to that was, we're about to spend a buttload of money, and it's going, we're going to put houses and build houses there, but we're not going to show up to the meeting where we're actually purchasing the property, and we're just going to trust that Kody's going to do the right thing. Now, that type of ignorance plays okay for one person and one person only. In this particular situation, Robin can sit there and say that she had no idea, because guess what? Robin is protected. Robin is his wife. So any piece of property where Kody's name is on, she has a vested interest in that property. See, Robin has the luxury of ignorance. She can sit there and pretend like she doesn't know. Janelle and Christine and Meri, well, formerly Christine, but Janelle and Meri don't have the luxury of ignorance, because if your name doesn't appear on the deed, then you don't have ownership. So if he goes down and he pays for the property and he says, okay, on this property, I'm going to have Janelle and me, and then this property is going to be me and Robin, and on this property is going to be me, Meri, and Janelle, and then on this property, I'm going to have me, Robin, and Christine, and that's how we're going to do it because, oh, well, I'm just doing it. If he was really going to do it that way, why wouldn't he put everybody who contributed to this fund to buy this piece of property, and knowing full well you're going to reconfigure it and give it to them anyway, but they're all going to help you pay for the whole property, why wouldn't you put everybody's name on it? And even better yet, when we talk about the negotiation, and this is the point that I wanted to make, and I've been teasing the whole time. When you talk about negotiations, when they needed that last little bit of money because they divided by 4, they said, this is the last little contribution we need in order to pay the land off. That would have been a fantastic opportunity for either Janelle or for Meri, or both Janelle and Meri, to say, look, I am not giving you my check until we put everybody's name on each one of those 4 plots of land. And then once we divide it or subdivide it, then we'll come out and decide, well, we'll make the assignments as far as who owns which plot. But until that time, if I'm going to kick my money in, I want my name on all the land out there. Much like Kody has his name on all the land out there. Now, in this particular situation, they do have some leverage because the land has to be paid off. And so in order for you to get that check, you need to put my name on it. And if I'm Janelle, if Meri don't want to ride, then I don't care if your name goes on it or not, but my name is going to be on every piece of property. That's just thinking like, before I put more money into this or invest more money into this opportunity, I want to be sure that I'm getting my share out of this investment. And if I don't get a return on my investment, then I'm no longer doing it. And the secret to the sauce is, even if Kody and Meri and Robin decide to go ahead and pay the land off, that doesn't remove Janelle's interest from the land. So every piece of land that she has her name on, she still would own. She would still have, half interest in the land that says Kody and Janelle, and she would still have a third interest in the land that said Kody, Meri, and Janelle. So it doesn't affect it that way, but it would create a little leverage point where she could have got her name added to each one of the pieces of property. I think that this is a conversation that should have had happened from the beginning. They all should have made sure that their name was on the front end, that he shouldn't have been going to any meetings or any conversations, talking to any lawyers or real estate people without them being present or them getting a full detailed description or summary of everything that happened during the course of that meeting. You have to be involved. If you want to be considered a partner, you have to act as though you're a partner. You have to be a partner. But if you sit there and you allow him to make these decisions, because I noticed that at the when they came over to the house, Kody wanted to sit at the head of the table. If Janelle would have showed up, you know, a great power move for her would have been to sit at the head of the table. And when Kody comes in, what are you, the head of this family now? You making decisions like he did to Christine that time way back when? You just look at him and say, there is no family. We're business partners. There is no head of this business or whatever. We're equal partners. So as an equal partner, I can sit wherever the hell I want to. Once you get rid of the facade of the fantasy world of we're tied to each other because we're married, but you're not legally married, which means you're not married. Once you get rid of that veneer, then what you're left with is what are your legal obligations? They put Kody in a situation where he's now in a position where he can choose what to do. I would have told him to cease and desist. Everything that you're doing up there on Coyote Pass, you stop doing it until we figure it out. Until we figure out the money and what's worth what. If those trees are valuable on the land, then we need to stop cutting down trees. There's another point where I wanted to talk about Janelle and why Kody is resisting the appraisal opportunity.
I believe that Kody is resistant getting an appraisal because he knows he's making out like a bandit now. He wants us to trust that he knows what he's talking about with the values of the property.
Right. He wants them to trust them. That's part of the key thing. In order for you to rip somebody off, a big part of it is for them to trust you. When you tell somebody a lie, a big part of it is, you know, forget trust. They have to want to believe the lie. And you're in a position now where you see what Kody is about. You see what he's trying to do. You see which direction he's trying to take you in. And you realize that he's not looking out for your best interest. He's looking out for his best interest. And because he's doing that, he no longer gets the benefit of that trust. So when he makes decisions, you have to take a moment to be able to step back, review those decisions, and try to see the different angles of it. If necessary, you very well, especially because nobody is expecting you. You're smart in business, you're smart with money, that's fine. But nobody's expecting you to be an expert when it comes to real estate. Particularly, you could be an expert in real estate, just not an expert in Arizona real estate. You know, so you having the expertise is not just knowing about a subject matter, but knowing when you don't know and finding somebody who does know and seeking that information. And I hope and I pray that Janelle, Meri, and Christine all do that, or Janelle and Meri do that when it comes to Coyote Pass. But even more so, I hope that the people who watch this video will take that as an aside. You get some money together and you and your boyfriend and your friends or whatever going to invest in a piece of property. Make sure that your name and everything that you have is reflective of your investment. Don't give your boyfriend a bunch of money to go buy a house and put in his name, because at the end of the day, if you paid for the down payment or you made all the payments, it doesn't matter if the thing is in his name. That's his house. And you stay with him, but that's his house. As a young person, you say, hey, a bunch of us going to get together. We're going to buy a car together. It doesn't matter how much money you gave them if their name is the only name that appears on the title of the car. There's another part that I just wanted to close out with, talking about Kody doesn't want to do something. He doesn't want to get the appraisal. He doesn't want to do this. And this shows not only his leadership ability, but his business acumen. Let's take a listen.
It's like I look out there and it's sort of a source of pain in a way. And I'm like, I don't want to put more money. I don't want to do appraisals. Maybe I have to. I don't want to talk to lawyers about it. It's like, I don't know what to do. I'm not interested in doing anything.
He's not interested in doing anything. He doesn't want to talk to lawyers. He doesn't want to get appraisals. He doesn't want to do anything. Well, if you don't want to do anything, then you need to step aside. This is business. If you are a part of a business, you're the leader of an organization or a business. Usually they call them the CEO, the chief executive officer. And if you have a chief executive officer who can look you in the face and say, hey, I'm no longer interested in trying to make money. No, I don't want to talk to business people. I don't want to do meetings. I don't want to talk to lawyers. I don't want to do anything. Then you get fired. That's what happens. You need to step down or you get fired. That doesn't mean that you no longer give up all your interest and your financial interest in this particular organization. It just means that you don't need to be making decisions for the organization anymore because you're not interested in making good decisions. You don't want to do the work. So therefore, you're not making informed and smart decisions as far as the money is concerned. You don't need to be in that position anymore. The next thing kind of strikes me is that the reason why you're not interested in doing it is because you don't want them to find out or get information because you see that as a loss. You see them as taking something from you. This is not, when you're dealing with this money, all the baby boo-boo, ba-ba bullshit stops. When you're dealing with somebody's money and their finances, all the, this hurt my feelings, my fee-fees is hurt, I don't want to play no more. That stops, okay? You're dealing with way too much money for you to sit there and start talking about because they hurt your feelings, you don't want to make sure that that money is secure and taken care of. And because of that, like Janelle had said, there was another point in during the course of this, I would pull the clip, but it'd just be too much, where they had talked about the reason why Kody doesn't want to do the appraisals and all this is because, and he's so, flabbergasted as far as what he wants to do next. And Robin's like, why don't you want to do it? Because I don't, there are 4 people and everybody's got their own thing that they want to do. That's more reason why you want to get an appraisal on the land and you want to sell the land, because you guys all have 4 different directions you want to go in. And because you can't figure out how to move together as a unit, you need to separate. And by separate, you need to make sure that you know exactly what you have so that when you sell what you have, you get the full value for what you have and they can get their full return on investment and you guys can separate and part as friends. If you screw them over or you shortchange them, that's only guaranteeing that your relationship will be stressed later on. This is part of the reason and a big reason as to why a lot of people advise that you don't get involved with friends or family when it comes to business, because money will break up a family faster than anything else going. Let me know what you guys think down below. Leave your comments, leave your takes. Give me that thumbs up to let a brother know that you appreciate what I'm doing. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out.
'Cause I've been living life right like I